Good morning, everyone. How are we feeling?
Good.
Good?
Yeah.
Well, welcome, Dietmar, Travis, Pere. It's good to have you here. Package stores kind of going through a renaissance, if I can use that word. And we have the three of you here, very different sort of models. So let me start with you, Pere. What does Exoticca do? So very briefly. And then I also want you to talk about, you were on stage here with us in 2019 at launch, when a very young company, you've been through the battle, COVID. So what's changed between 2019 and now for you?
Sure. Thank you, Charuta. And first of all, thank you for having me here. So basically what we do is we bring multi-day tour packages online. No? And by multi-day tour packages, I'm not referring to those packages that have a hotel and a flight and maybe a car rental. I'm referring to packages that include an itinerary that requires multiple flights, multiple hotels, activities, guides, transfers, excursions, so the whole thing. No? And basically, what we've done is we've digitized the part of the value chain that was offline, which is the DMC, no? The company at the destination that provides some of the key services, so that we could basically access their inventory and build dynamically these packages with their components and offer them online with real-time pricing and real-time availability. And in the end, our objective is to make buying a complex trip as easy as it is today to buy online a flight or a hotel. That's basically what we do, and that's basically what has not changed about Exoticca, no? Since 2019. What has changed since 2019 are the numbers, no? And I would like to highlight probably three things. No? The first thing is that we've grown very rapidly. In 2019, we were doing close to 50 million euros in sales, and last year in 2023 we did 200 million, and this year the objective is to do 300 million euros. So we've grown very rapidly despite of COVID. The second thing that has changed is we've improved a lot our unit economics, and in particular we've improved our gross margin. Our gross margin back in 2019 was around 20%. Today is 31%, so it has increased by more than 50%. And obviously that helps the entire P&L. No? When you have, as a starting point, a gross margin of 31%, you can be very aggressive investing in marketing and in customer acquisition and still make good money on the first sale to a new customer. No? And finally, the third thing has been our repetition. No? We've put a lot of focus over the last 2-3 years on repetition. And we've managed to double the repetition when you look at the cohorts of 2023 or versus the ones that we had in 2028, for example, 2018, sorry. Basically, we've seen that we've been able to double that repetition.
Great. Sounds like it's all going well. Travis, you were the first marketplace for multi-day tours with TourRadar. So just talk about what TourRadar is for the benefit of our audience, and sort of what's kind of changed in that time from when you set up in 2010 to now.
Sure. So the big difference, I think, is that TourRadar is aggregating 2,500 different tour operators. So we started out with the bigger global players like Contiki, G Adventures, Intrepid, but then as we started to realize we need to connect the very fragmented supply, so DMCs, clearly they want to get distribution also in this internet world, so we managed to connect about 2,300 DMCs as well. So the model that we have is very transparent marketplace where you can search, you can actually see the name of the providers, so you actually are booking directly with them and you're traveling with them. And we're basically the distribution channel for them. And so the big difference between us from 2018-19 to today is that we actually really started to shift to a platform strategy. So thinking of Amazon, thinking of Google, how they've actually managed to build an ecosystem. And we really think that there's so much digital transformation opportunity here in this particular industry that we're in. 90% is still booked through offline travel agents or phone calls. And so we've really tried to build out the B2B side of the business. So we've connected almost 20,000 travel agents now who can actually book any of the 2,500 DMCs, earn a commission on that. We work with Flight Centre to actually power their API and their GDS basically for multi-day tours. So we really see ourselves as a marketplace, B2C, but also building out the B2B component, which we really feel is key for these small players and these niche players, wherever they are, to get distribution through all these different providers. So, yeah.
Great. And Dietmar, let me come to you. You are a veteran of the tours industry. You were a founder of FTI, which obviously has been in the news recently. And I know you're not involved with FTI anymore. But talk to us about what you've done since with Falk Travel, and also, what does it say about where the industry is when you have a big operator like FTI, one of the largest, sort of, have to take the step to go through insolvency?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, long question, but we can't have you here and not talk about FTI. That was kind of where you started.
No, I built FTI, and FTI was for 40 years until Corona, life before and after Corona. A deeply rooted operational company in the hospitality, hotel operation, DMC operation in 25 countries worldwide, Asia, Africa, America, and it was never direct to consumer. It was a very product-driven service company, and now with the change of ownership, with the change of management, there was more focus on tour operation in Central Europe, less on the global marketplace as a DMC, and apparently it didn't work out the way the new owners planned to have it, and we were never good in direct to consumer. We didn't know how to do that. We are suppliers.
It's a different play.
Yeah, it's a different game. Yeah.
And talk to us about Falk Travel and what you do.
Yeah, I started a new tour operation, which is planned to be operator globally. It's based in Switzerland. One of the partners, again, is a hotel operator, Falkensteiner Hotels. We have in our back 33 high-end hotels in the mountain regions. I operate hotels in Africa, Turkey, Greece, etc. So we are, and again, we built as a backbone, we built DMCs, today called Rocket DMC. Before it was called Meeting Point Destination Management. And it's a large part of my team I've worked with for decades, and who have the relationship. It follows your motto, you, me, and the machine. It's how you play it.
Right. And all three of you really kind of are at the forefront of the digitization of the package tour industry. But more and more also, and when we've talked about sort of this panel, you all mentioned DMCs, which are sort of in destination. They're the ones that are providing that experience on the ground. So we talk in our research also about sort of the consumers looking at experiences and wanting those experiences, wanting to be close to sort of what's happening wherever they're traveling. So if there's so much focus on the in-destination, and you're kind of a little different for you with Rocket, but you're a little removed. So what does that future look like when there's so much more focus on the in-destination, when you're working with these partners? What do you look for? Pere, you want to start?
Sure. No, I think the DMCs obviously play a critical role, no, in the trip. I would say that they are critical for the whole travel experience, because they are the customer-facing people. No, these are the people that pick you up at the airport, take you from point A to point B. This is the guide that accompanies you through the entire tour. So basically, the way they deliver the experience is critical for customer satisfaction. No? So I think, in our opinion, having control over that is key to have control over the entire product. The way traditional tour operators have done that has been by what they always do, buying them, and vertically integrating and owning them, and that's, we think it's a very CapEx and OpEx intensive way of doing things. So we've designed a way we can have the same degree of control over the customer experience, but with an asset-light model. We try to integrate them as much as we can into Exoticca, so that they are extensions of Exoticca in the different destinations, like our boots in the ground, if you want. And we do that through contracts and through technology. Through contracts, basically we establish exclusivities with them, we establish guidelines on how they need to deliver the services so we can have consistency across the different destinations. We establish also a mandate to use our merchandise through the entire journey with the customer. And through technology, we have them fully integrated into us. We have full visibility of the inventory, full visibility of their prices, costs, everything. And that it's a way of having control end-to-end of the entire customer experience, but in a model that is much more flexible and much less capital intensive than the way traditional tour operators have done it in the past.
But is it more difficult to reach the customer? Obviously, Travis has a large marketplace. B2C, we talk about in the travel industry, is always really, really difficult. You talked about sort of FTI. So sort of when we talk about distribution, and traditionally tour operators always sort of having this dependence on third-party distribution, you're obviously powering, I think you said 20,000 travel agents. Yeah. So, are we sort of going to see this higher push towards online penetration and a B2C push, or do you think sort of marketplaces, Travis, like you do? Is that kind of the future?
I think we can look at other industries. So I always say that our space is probably 10 years behind in terms of technology. So we can kind of see what's happened in hotels or flights, and there is obviously a shift to direct as well. And so it's really a mix. So we know that tour operators in the past have had to get distribution through travel agents. Like, it was the only way that's why the commissions are there, because they know that they didn't get distribution otherwise. But now direct and the internet is obviously, popping up, and there's obviously social channels as well. And so we're seeing that real shift of operators also wanting to have their direct channel. And that's why we've actually built out what we call our direct booking solution, kind of like Shopify, where the operator can take our link and actually the consumer, instead of going to a website that was probably designed 15, 20 years ago that doesn't give much trust, to actually be able to process that payment using their credit card to have that trust. And so I think there is going to have to be this balance between direct and third-party distribution. And that's why we've sort of positioned ourselves in that way. Yeah.
So you're sort of providing the back end, almost like a white label solution with all the services.
Yeah, the payment rails, everything like that. So yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Dietmar, what do you think, sort of from your point of view in the industry, direct, indirect, sort of both? What do you do?
Well, we work with the partners. We have worked all the time, OTAs, traditional travel agents, depending on the source market. We don't have any ambitions to go direct, because that's not our DNA. We don't know how to do it. We are a deeply rooted organization in the destination. And where we are spending most of in terms of the development, is trying to understand the evolution of the decision-making of the customer during the customer journey. When does he want to have what information? When does he want to book? Which flexibility does he have? What habits does the customer have? We have in Rocket, Open New Market, Central Asia. We are learning what these customers want. Yeah. Some of them want to book three months before, plan their stay. Others want to have a service in 5 minutes. So these are in their language, and so it's more an operational analysis of requirements during the customer journey. And then obviously there's a big question, to our distribution partners, how are they able to offer this kind of service we are talking about today during the booking process.
Do you work with Travis? Would you?
Not yet.
Not yet?
Oh,
Okay, great. I'm glad we brought you together then. So one of the things on the consumer side, right? We've talked a lot, especially post-COVID, about sort of consumers focusing on experiences and prioritizing sort of bucket list trips and trying to find these unique, almost kind of doing something different, right? So how do you fulfill sort of that demand for unique experiences when you're thinking about how to design a tour, or when you're working with sort of DMCs on the ground? I don't know, anybody can take it.
Yeah, I mean, from our side, we started out in scheduled itineraries, so where it's scheduled departure dates. Clearly there is this shift, so during COVID we rolled out the ability to customize or take a private tour, and about 15% of our business today is that customized. The thing is, people don't really want to pay what they need to pay, like, because there is the realities of if you're only 2 people or 5 people as opposed to a group of 30, the economy, of scale just isn't there, and so we see a lot of people interested, but then to actually convert, they're like, oh, okay, that's more than I expected, and so I think it's setting expectations, and also it's how people kind of going through the customer journey understand what's included in these packages. So within one 8-day experience, there's probably 100 different components. And how you actually explain that to the customer is really key. And there's a book, maybe some of you have read, The Experience Economy by Joe Pine. He talks about mass customization. Yeah. And I think that's what we need to get better at, is actually how do we present things that we know from a financial point of view on the ground still work, but the customer feels like they're tailor-making it as they start to build it. A bit like, a Dell computer, you all have the base layer, but you kind of add the different features and components you want. And I think that's the challenge of our industry, is to do that much better and explain things. Yeah. And
Pere, I'm going to just kind of take what he said about mass customization, because back in 2019, when you presented at launch here at Phocuswright, you said you were targeting the middle class with Exoticca. So mass customization, is that kind of the way that the customer journey is evolving, or perhaps that's what they want?
Yeah, part of our objective is to democratize what we call these dream trips, that until now were only accessible for a small minority, to make it affordable for a great majority, for a middle class type of customers. So value for money is part of our value proposition. In our top destinations, we've managed to bring down prices by 30%, compared to what you would find for a similar experience in a traditional travel agency. And basically, just following up on what Travis was mentioning, about groups, versus private tours. I mean, we continue to do surveys, among our customers and potential customers. One thing we found out that is different from the US versus Europe is that the main reason why European customers travel in groups is obviously because of price. But in the case of the US, we found that it's number one reason is because it's an opportunity to meet other people. It's even higher than price. So there are people for everything, and you need to understand that customer behavior. And then to answer your question about mass customization and price, I think there is a huge trade-off in travel between standardization, which is what gives you economies of scale and what allows you to come up with a super competitive price, and then personalization, which is like buying a suit. If you go to Savile Row in London, it will cost you 8,000 euros, but if you go to El Corte Inglés, it will cost you 300 euros. So basically, being able to know where you play, and being able to find the right balance between having a product that it's quite standardized in the basics, but then from a customer point of view, the customer still feels that they have the control over certain things that are critical for them to be able to personalize, I think is the secret to the success.
Can I just add one thing?
Absolutely.
Just on the social aspect? So 27% of our bookings are solo female travelers. So they want to actually travel. They want the safety, the security, the guide, the accommodation, but it's the social aspect. Like they're going to connect with other people on that group. And that's why, obviously that's the tailwind I hope that we're all sort of on from COVID is connection in real life and bringing people together, having that cultural experience, but also meeting new people as well.
Yeah, and like you say, safety in numbers, you're getting the experience, and so you're sort of catering to all of those needs.
Yep.
Dietmar, your thoughts when you're sort of, putting together these packages on personalization versus perhaps a little more standardized?
I guess we do both. We have to do both, and balancing, as Travis said, not everybody is prepared to pay this for the service, so he takes a scheduled service.
Do you see kind of demand shifting one way or the other?
No, it has been always been there, and it's different by country of operation. The motivation of a personalized individual service or a service is sometimes driven by the feel to be secure, and sometimes in other mature countries to experience a personal service because they want to have company, they want to have. They could do it on their own, but it's a social aspect. In other countries, it's a security aspect. In other countries, it's a service aspect. But
so your answer is it depends.
No, it's a balance. I don't think, obviously, the travelers are getting more mature. They have more information. They have more ideas. Some have unlimited budgets, and some are very economically driven. And I think the development of our product in the destination really goes with the maturity of the traveler as he comes. But I don't see that we have anything revolutionary new, except the customer who is more and more educated, more and more briefed, has more and more information. And also expectations of changes at short minute.
So that's interesting, though, talking about information, and since you're all sort of, trying to digitize what has traditionally been a very offline sort of market, how do you get in front of customers? I mean, we know with the OTAs, they spend a lot of money. When you're trying to kind of, acquire customers, get in front of them, knowing that there's so much information. How do you go about that? What do you spend on marketing? A lot?
We spend a lot of money. Now, basically, what we sell has an average booking value of 5,000 euros. It's a booking for 2 people for a trip, 2 weeks, with everything included. So we have on average, we have about 12 touch points before they buy. So people that don't just come and buy, because it's a big ticket item. So they compare, they come back. So I think you need to use, in my opinion, a holistic approach where you combine multiple channels in the different stages throughout the customer journey. In fact, the way we measure performance of our marketing spending is not by looking at individual channels, but by looking at the marketing mix that we are using, and we try to optimize based on that marketing mix. So it's a combination of many channels. Obviously, we're trying to push more of those channels that we believe are more efficient, but the approach is more holistic. And until very recently, we were focused exclusively on what we call performance marketing, meaning that we were trying to get a return immediately from each sale from a new customer. And now our focus has shifted more on building the brand, basically, which is, it takes a longer term type of approach to the investment.
Travis, 20 seconds.
Quickly, yeah. So search obviously has been a big part of everyone, but that's lower funnel, there's intent there. Where the big opportunity is in social. So we're seeing the Gen Z, they're not using Google for searching, they're using TikTok, and that's really, we have to be there. We have to work out how to get people from there to booking a $5,000 experience in some way, and that's why mobile and Gen AI are super key to kind of connect those dots.
Yeah, and I'm really sad that we didn't even get to talk about AI, and we were running out of time. So that kind of gives me an opportunity to have you back here next year when we'll talk about what you're doing in AI. I think we'll have a lot more data at that point in time to talk about. Thank you so much, Dietmar, Travis, Pere.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.